There are moments when a person feels something shifting inside them. A quiet ripple that doesn't seem to belong to any thought they consciously made. A sudden emotion, an unexplained intuition. A shiver of awareness that makes them wonder if someone else could somehow reach into their mind without ever speaking. The idea of telepathic control is not truly about supernatural ability. It is about the hidden fragility of the human psyche. The fear that one's inner world is not as private, sealed, or sovereign as believed. People rarely fear the mind of another. They fear the parts of themselves that they do not understand. And when confusion grows, when emotions defy logic, the mind begins searching for invisible hands to blame. The illusion of mental control begins there. In the shadows of uncertainty, where imagination fills the silence, it begins quietly. A person notices subtle shifts within themselves, an unexplained tension, a sudden emotional drop, a thought that enters with strange timing, as if arriving from somewhere else. These sensations do not feel chosen. They feel intrusive, unfamiliar, slightly foreign. And because the human mind is deeply protective of its inner equilibrium, anything that feels out of rhythm instantly becomes suspicious. People sense influence long before they understand its origin. They read patterns where none exist, connect coincidences into meaning, and turn emotional noise into imagined signals. This is how the illusion first forms. In times of uncertainty, the mind becomes hyper-aware, scanning every feeling as if it were a coded message sent by someone unseen. A look from a stranger, a memory that resurfaces in perfect alignment with a current fear, a dream that echoes real conversations. Each becomes part of a quiet narrative. Someone is affecting me. But beneath this belief lies a deeper truth. The brain hates unanswered questions. When it cannot easily identify why a feeling emerged, it begins seeking explanations outside the self, leaning toward interpretations that feel dramatic or mystical because they offer clarity when reality feels blurred. The idea of telepathic strings takes shape during these moments of misalignment. A person senses their internal world shifting and imagines an external puppeteer. Not because they truly believe someone has supernatural access to their mind, but because the emotional experience is so intense that it begs for a story powerful enough to match it. The illusion grows from sensitivity, not weakness. A protective instinct trying to understand itself. Humans have always searched for meaning in what they cannot explain. Long before psychology, the mind relied on myths to translate inner chaos into understandable shapes. Telepathy, mind-to-mind influence, became one of those shapes. The belief did not arise from fantasy alone, it came from evolution. Humans developed extraordinary pattern detection skills. They survived by noticing subtle cues, slight changes in expression, tone, silence, posture. Over thousands of years, the mind became wired to interpret everything as a signal. So when emotions shift unexpectedly, the brain assumes that something must have caused it. Something external, something intentional. This instinct once protected life. But in the modern world, where inner struggles are more complex than external predators, the same instinct turns inward. People sense an emotional change and imagine an invisible source. A friend thinking about them, an enemy resenting them, a stranger observing them from afar. It becomes easier to believe someone is influencing the psyche than to accept that the mind itself contains layers that rise without permission. The origins of the telepathic control idea also come from loneliness, longing, and fear. Humans crave connection so deeply that they fantasize about being felt by others without words. And when relationships become strained or emotions feel too heavy, the opposite fantasy emerges: the fear of being mentally penetrated, understood too deeply, or controlled too easily. Telepathic influence becomes a metaphor for emotional vulnerability. It expresses the discomfort of being known, judged, or affected by someone's presence, even when they remain silent. Thus, the belief is not born from stories of supernatural powers. It is born from the human need to explain the invisible movements within their own heart. The brain is a storyteller long before it is a scientist. Thoughts do not appear as clean, labeled origins. They emerge from a vast network of memory, emotion, instinct, and unconscious activity. Most of what a person feels rises before they logically interpret it. Because of this, the mind often misattributes internal sensations to external sources. This is how projection works. When a fear grows loud inside, the brain pushes it outward, imagining it belongs to someone else. When anxiety sends a sudden jolt through the body, the mind creates narratives to justify the feeling, even if those narratives are fictional. Cognitive biases play a major role. Confirmation bias makes a person notice only the coincidences that support their belief in external influence. Pattern-seeking bias turns unrelated events into a connected storyline. Emotional reasoning whispers, if it feels real, it must be real. The machinery of the mind is powerful enough to create entire worlds from fragments. And when someone experiences persistent stress or emotional overload, the boundary between internal and external becomes thin. Thoughts feel louder. Emotions feel sharper. The world feels closer. In such moments, the illusion of telepathic control intensifies. The brain tries to locate the source of the discomfort. When it cannot find one, it invents one. This is not madness. It is a natural psychological response to ambiguity. The brain must assign meaning somewhere. And when the meaning is unclear, it chooses the most compelling possibility. The illusion grows not because a person is irrational, but because the mind is doing exactly what it evolved to do: protect them, by creating explanations. Even when those explanations become frightening, there comes a moment when a person begins to see the pattern differently. Not through force, but through clarity. The emotional shifts they once attributed to external control begin to feel familiar, connected to personal memories, dormant fears, unresolved longing. The invisible influence they sensed starts pointing inward instead of outward. They notice how stress amplifies sensitivity, how loneliness heightens imagination, how exhaustion blurs the origins of thought. Slowly, they understand that the influence they feared was never an external threat. It was the mind trying to speak, using metaphors when words were unavailable. This realization does not erase the intensity of the earlier experience. It gently reframes it. The person begins to reclaim their inner space, recognizing that thoughts can be unpredictable without being foreign. Emotions can be overwhelming without being planted. Sensations can feel intrusive without belonging to someone else. The illusion dissolves not through denial, but through recognition. The mind is vast, layered, and powerful enough to create experiences that feel supernatural when they are simply human. And in this understanding, the person finds a quiet peace. Not a dramatic awakening, but a soft acceptance. The strings they once imagined were never pulled by another. They were threads of their own psyche, trying to weave coherence into confusion. Telepathic control was never a power someone else held. It was the shape the mind used to describe its own unspoken depths. And as this truth settles, the person feels a gentle return to themselves. A closing of the loop, a reclaiming of inner sovereignty, a calm awareness that the mind, with all its mysteries, remains their own.